We have now covered how to plan and execute a welding procedure test and how to assess the results. The next critical question is, what does a passing test actually qualify you to weld in production? The answer lies in Clause 8, Range of Qualification. This is arguably the most commercially important part of the entire standard, because getting it wrong means either that your production welds are outside the qualified range, which is a non-conformance, or that you are performing unnecessary repeat qualifications. This lecture covers the ranges related to the manufacturer, the parent material grouping system, material thickness, and pipe diameter. Lecture 8 will cover the essential variables related to the welding process itself. The fundamental rule clause 8.1 states the principle simply: changes outside of the ranges specified shall require a new welding procedure test. The ranges are determined by the essential variables, the parameters that, if changed significantly, could affect the mechanical properties of the joint. The standard defines these ranges carefully, and your WPQR must clearly document them. Geniarter Relevant Image 16-9. Related to the manufacturer, Clause 8.2. A welding procedure qualification prepared by a manufacturer is valid for welding in workshops and on sites when the manufacturer who performed the test retains complete responsibility for all welding carried out to it. In other words, you cannot simply hand over your WPQR to a subcontractor and expect it to remain valid. The original manufacturer must retain full responsibility. If a subcontractor is to use the procedure, there are specific arrangements that need to be in place, typically governed by the contractual framework and any applicable application standards. Parent material grouping, Clause 8.3.1. To minimize the number of welding procedure tests needed, the standard groups materials by their metallurgical and mechanical similarity. Steels and nickel alloys are grouped according to ISO TR 15608. If a material is assigned to a group by ISO TR 20172, European materials, ISO TR 20173, American materials, or ISO TR 20174, Japanese materials, those assignments take precedence. The key principle is that a procedure test on one material within a group may qualify welding on other materials within the same group, and in many cases, on materials in lower numbered groups as well. Steel groups, Table 5. Table 5 is a matrix. The row represents the test piece material A, and the column represents the test piece material B in the case of dissimilar joints. For a same material joint, only the diagonal entries apply. The three key rules for steels are as follows. First, test piece materials in groups 1, 2, 3, and 11 qualify steels of equal or lower specified minimum yield strength, independent of material thickness. So a test on group 1 material qualifies all group 1 steels with lower or equal yield strength. Second, test piece materials in groups 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9 qualify steels in the same subgroup and any lower subgroup within the same group. So group 4 tested at subgroup 4.2 qualifies subgroups 4.1 and 4.2, but not 4.3 or 4.4. Third, test piece materials in groups 7 and 10 qualify steels in the same subgroup only. These groups, which include ferritic and martensitic stainless steels and certain high alloy materials, have enough metallurgical variation between subgroups that broader qualification is not permitted. Nickel alloy groups, Table 6 inches. Table 6 covers nickel alloys, groups 41 to 48, and dissimilar joints between nickel alloys and steels. For groups 41 to 48, a procedure test carried out with a solid solution alloy in a group covers all solid solution alloys in that same group. Similarly for precipitation hardening alloys, but a solid solution test does not cover precipitation hardening alloys and vice versa. Material thickness, Clause 8.3.2. Table 7 defines the qualified thickness ranges for butt welds. It applies to both the parent material thickness and the deposited weld metal thickness. Let us work through the key rows. For test piece thickness T of 3 mm or less, the qualified parent metal range at level 2 is 0.5 T to 2 T. So a 2 mm test piece qualifies from 1 mm to 4 mm. For T between 3 mm and 12 mm, level 2 parent metal range is 0.5 T, minimum 3 mm, to 1.3 T. A 10 mm test piece qualifies from 5 mm to 13 mm. For T between 12 mm and 100 mm, level 2 parent metal range is 0.5 T to 1.1 T. Note, the upper limit is tighter here. A 20 mm test piece qualifies from 10 mm to 22 mm. For T between 40 mm and 100 mm, level 2 parent metal range is 0.5 T to 2 T. The upper limit opens up again for thicker material. A 60 mm test piece qualifies 30 mm to 120 mm. For T between 100 mm and 150 mm, level 2 upper limit is 2 T, and minimum is 50 mm. For T greater than 150 mm, minimum is 50 mm, maximum is 1.33 T. It's important to note level 1 is simpler but broader. At level 1 any butt weld or fillet weld test qualifies all fillet sizes and all material thicknesses, except for processes 114, 12, and 13 where any single pass greater than 13 mm limits the maximum qualified parent metal thickness to 1.1 T. For the deposited weld metal, the limits are related to the deposited thickness S per process, shown in the right-hand columns of Table 7. Single-run welds have tighter limits than multi-run. The maximum qualified production deposited thickness is typically 2s for most thickness ranges. Table 8 inches covers fillet welds at level 2. For test piece thickness T of 3 mm or less, material range is 0.7 T to 2 T, and throat thickness range is 0.75 A to 1.5 A for single run, no restriction for multi-run. For T between 3 mm and 30 mm, material range is 3 mm to 2 T. For T of 30 mm or more, minimum 5 mm. Where a fillet weld is qualified by means of a butt weld test, the throat thickness range is based on the deposited weld metal thickness from the butt weld test. Diameter of pipes and branch connections, Clause 8.3.3. At level 1, the diameter is not an essential variable. A plate test qualifies pipe and vice versa. There are no diameter restrictions. At level 2, Table 9 applies. A test on outside diameter D qualifies diameters of 0.5 D and above. So a 200 mm pipe test qualifies pipe diameters of 100 mm and above. There is no upper limit, the range extends to any larger diameter. Special rule: a butt weld qualification in pipe covers butt welds in plate. Plate qualification also covers pipes when the outside diameter exceeds 500 mm, or when the outside diameter exceeds 150 mm and welding is in the PC position, horizontal, PF rotated position, or PA rotated position. Diameter of pipes and branch connections, Clause 8.3.3. At level 1, the diameter is not an essential variable. A plate test qualifies pipe and vice versa. There are no diameter restrictions. At level 2, Table 9 applies. A test on outside diameter D qualifies diameters of 0.5 D and above. So a 200 mm pipe test qualifies pipe diameters of 100 mm and above. There is no upper limit, the range extends to any larger diameter. Special rule: a butt weld qualification in pipe covers butt welds in plate. Plate qualification also covers pipes when the outside diameter exceeds 500 mm, or when the outside diameter exceeds 150 mm and welding is in the PC position, horizontal, PF rotated position, or PA rotated position. Create relevant image 16 to 9. Recap, Lecture 7 Key Points 50. Changes outside the qualified ranges require a new welding procedure test. 51. The WPQR is valid only for the manufacturer who retains complete responsibility. 52. Material groups per ISO, TR 15608 minimize the number of procedure tests needed. 53. Groups 1, 2, 3, 11, Qualify equal or lower yield strength steels regardless of thickness. 54. Groups 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Qualify same subgroup and lower subgroups within the group. 55. Groups 7, 10. Qualify same subgroup only. 56. Level 2 butt weld thickness ranges per Table 7. Upper limit varies from 1.1 t to 2 t depending on thickness. 57. Level 1. No thickness restriction for butt or fillet welds, except process-specific rule for single passes greater than 13 mm. 58. Level 2 pipe diameter. Minimum qualified equals 0.5 d. Level 1. No diameter restriction. 59. Level 2 branch angle 60 degrees to 90 degrees. Qualifies that range. Below 60 degrees requires separate test. Quiz for Lecture 7. Comment your answers below. Q1. At Level 2, a butt weld procedure test is performed on a 25 mm thick plate. What is the maximum parent metal thickness qualified in production? Question 2. A Level 2 procedure test is performed on a 300 mm outside diameter pipe. What is the minimum pipe diameter qualified? Question 3. Under the ISO TR 15608 grouping system, a test on Group 5 subgroup 5.3 material qualifies which other subgroups? We will upload 8th lecture soon. Till time also watch previous 6 lectures for complete coverage.